Welcome to another episode of Healing the Divide, produced by Methodology Books.
Good morning and welcome. I attended a grandparents' function at my grandchildren's school. Wednesday, the grandparent lunch was with my granddaughter, Kennedy, and Friday was with my grandson, KJ. And I was reminded, although I enjoyed myself, I was reminded of one of the issues prevalent in this society that makes someone like Donald Trump, the idea of him becoming president, even possible. Yeah, you say he's talking about a time with his grandchildren and he's talking about politics. Now, I'm concerned about what tomorrow holds for them. Here's my point. I thought about how great the school is, and then I was reminded about the uniforms. Do we consider seriously why schools have uniform codes? Having the children in uniformity plays a great role in impacting and preventing certain types of peer pressure. Children who have less don't have the pressure of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Their parents don't struggle to try to make them not feel left out. There's a lot of things involved with it. But what it reminded me of also is that in the school system, you have personalities. You have the cool kids, the kids everybody wants to hang out with, or just the kids who, even if they don't hang out with the cool kids, they squeak by, they get by, they consider it normal, whatever the case may be. You have bullies, the ones who prey on the weaker children, either those who they see things about them, they don't have a bigger brother or sister in the school with them, or something about them shows them to be vulnerable to being bullied. And you have those children who are marginalized, they get bullied, and they get bullied either, it could be for their weight, their height, their size, being small. It could be for many things. It could be because of they're being poor. They just may have personalities that the bullies know them. And these bullies remind me of many in the Republican Party, and the so-called cool kids, the people who squeak by and get by, remind me of the Democrats. This is what the society is. The bullies live their lives and run their worlds and prey on the marginalized, such as as Republicans do. And the cool kids, the regular kids, whom the bullies won't mess with, live their lives in oblivion to the sufferings of the oppressed, marginalized kids, like the Democrats. In our society, one of the ills of America is the reality of the marginalized. Every election year, whether it's for the president or any other position, there's always Republicans continuing with the program they're on, and there's always Democrats pushing with the Republicans always against everything. They don't produce anything. And the Democrats are always against what the Republicans do to other people. They show you what the Republicans do to other people and why you shouldn't vote for them. But the real question is, why do we have schools that operate, for example, other than uniform type schools, that operate in a fashion that everybody knows the culture in school is that there are bullies and there are children who are abused and taken advantage of by the bullies? But there are not enough things in place to prevent bullying. Not only to protect the children from being bullied in the moment, but the conditions that it sets inside the mind and life of that particular child. Many people who probably could have been aspiring and being of benefit to the society have probably been shut down or psychologically damaged and destroyed by experiencing bullying. And today in our society, we continue moving forward. Everybody's talking about democracy. Everybody's talking about protecting the country from the likes of Donald Trump, the country that allowed a bully to grow up and become principal because of not stopping the bullying. There was nothing that came with Donald Trump when he even ran the first time for president that shouldn't have said to the whole society, this is not somebody that you want for principal of the school. This is not somebody you would want for president of this country. Why do you have people of varying ethnic groups in 2024 still being defined as marginalized, still being vulnerable? How is it possible that a governor in a wheelchair who is amongst the people who are handicapped, that the society, we do everything we can to see to it that the handicapped have a means, see to it that they're not mistreated, see to it that they're taken care of. Well, this man is handicapped in a wheelchair, and and he is allowed in the society to take some other people because of their ethnicity and where they're from and put them on buses and planes and send them to other states, and there's no major pushback from the federal government. There's nothing being done to shut down that. There has to be things in the society, the cool kids, the so-called Democrats, the so-called reasonable people from whatever party they're from. There has to be something that the people of the society can care enough to put in place to make the state suffer enough that the people there decide we can't have this man for governor. If people in America can come together and join in boycotts to prevent South Africa from continuing its apartheid regime, we can't do the same in this country to stop the people running these states from doing what they're doing to the people in the states. You mean that we really have to keep saying, vote everybody, and there's nothing that can be done about a state that tells people if you're standing in line for a long time, nobody can give you water? It's just talked about, it's just news. The cool kids know that there are ways to deal with this. Everybody knows there's ways to deal with this. You have people who are Christian. Forget those radical, evil people who call themselves Christian nationalists. I'm talking about white Americans who are Christian, who know that people of other ethnicities who are Christians are your brothers. And you have black people in churches in the South who have programs called Souls to the Polls, where they come together and they see to it that they help people get to the polls so they can vote, exercise their constitutional right to vote. And laws are being made that prevent the churches from helping people do that. How can that not be your business? Across this country, whatever the ethnic background, all these people are Americans. They're in the same school. And turning a blind eye to the bullying, or standing to the side as the cool kids talking about the bullying, doesn't change things. It doesn't make the school better. It doesn't make the country better. It just keeps on being an issue. In 2028, we'll still be talking about bullies. In 2028, we'll still be talking about marginalized groups. Why are there marginalized groups? Because nothing's being done to stop the marginalized groups from continuing to be marginalized groups. Think about it. The marginalized groups are identified as such because the so-called cool kids sit back and watch them be marginalized. Bring them in. Join them. The bullies don't bother you. Join the marginalized kids. Spend time with the marginalized kids so the bullies can understand we're not having it. Just, take steps. Change the society. Why people, I studied many religions. And I remember when I studied Taoism, there's a philosophy called the uncarved block. And what it requires, it calls on people to try to go back to understanding that as you live your life, everything you experience, every person you came in contact with has some impact in developing who and how you became. And sometimes you have to stop, go back, look at your life, look at the things that you've come to accept as true, and that your subconscious has accepted as true, and you move forward on action because of what you think they're true. All the things you come to believe, all the philosophies you've adopted, and begin to chip them away and find how much of that you can prove for yourself that you can move forward in satisfaction, and go back to being an uncarved block, and now get back to redeveloping yourself as a human being, not impacted by things you thought all your life that you never checked into. I'm mentioning this because people live inside ecosystems, people live inside philosophies, people live inside of world structures, concepts, that you don't take the time, because you become so comfortable in the world you're in, you don't take the time to look at the world from other people's perspective. You don't even want to hear it. You listen to the news, you listen to reports, you follow YouTube videos based upon what you want to hear, based upon the fact that those people have already said what you want to hear. And what happens is we live in a society where people only listen to the people who are listened to. You listen to the people who are listened to, the people who have the most views, the people who have the most subscribers, the people who have the most ratings on TV, the people who have the most money. These people, can you imagine these poor people living in trailers trying to attach themselves to Donald Trump for the same reason? Marginalized people is another term that makes us accept, okay, that's their state of being. It should be no such thing. We should never be satisfied until there's no such thing as marginalized people in the society. America has to come to terms with the fact that it's been a big liar. America has to come to terms with the fact that Donald Trump being possible, the greatest liar probably on the planet, has been president and is running again for the third time. America has to come to terms with the fact that a liar like that can do so because America's a liar. I mean, stop for a minute. Let us stop lying. We use words like exceptionalism, but where are we being exceptional? Seriously, where are we being exceptional? We are the country in the world that elected a guy like that. We are the country in the world that he ran again. We are the country in the world that this man is running for a third time. He's a stain because we don't take active enough steps against bullies.